Don and Nancy Failla have been in network marketing for over 37 years. They started with just 4 friends and now have over 140,000 in their downline worldwide, with 3,100 new members joining every month. If you need more information or the support material Don mentions once you've heard this presentation, phone Be Informed Productions on 0419 737 557 or contact their website at www.45second.com.au. And now, let's join Nancy as she introduces Don Failla.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're having a wonderful time in Australia on our tour, and all I've got to say is the people in Australia are certainly friendly. We feel like we've lived here all our life, and isn't that an exciting time? And that's what's great in networking is if you choose, you can literally travel the world, because many of these networking companies are international, aren't they? And what's great is when you do travel the world, it has great tax advantages. Don and I spend most of the year traveling the world. I tell people my whole life is a write-off. Isn't that great? So if you want to travel, this is certainly the way to be able to do it. This industry is very exciting and very fun if you know what you're doing. And that's why we've been invited here this evening to share some ideas with you. Times are changing, and it's good to learn new things. And you're going to learn some new things here this evening. Don and I have been in networking for over 37 years. That means we are very, very old. But fortunately, like most of you, we take good health products. So it seems like we all get younger every year, doesn't it? Isn't that great? But it's an exciting and fun business, and there's many ways to build this business, as many of you know. Some are fast, some are slow, and some are really fast. And it seems like wherever we travel in the world, people keep telling me they want to get some money in their pocket fast. So what Don is going to teach you this evening is a proven system to build your networking business the fastest way possible. Not only are you going to learn how to build your business fast, but you're going to learn how to have a fun time doing it. We have not met one person that wants a miserable part-time opportunity. Not one. People want a fun part-time opportunity. So we're going to teach you how to have a fun time doing it as well. Now you will see when Don Failla comes up this evening, he is wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Don always wears a Hawaiian shirt. He doesn't have a suit, a coat, and a tie, but he has over 400 Hawaiian shirts. Now let me tell you why he wears this Hawaiian shirt and why it has become his trademark literally around the world. Is about 25 years ago, we took our 2 sons to Hawaii. He bought one of these Hawaiian shirts, and he felt so casual and laid back and certainly didn't look like a salesman wearing that Hawaiian shirt. He said, you know, this is the way I want to feel the rest of my life. And you see, it is an alternative lifestyle. We're talking about a better quality of life here. So he wants people to know that if they want to walk the beaches of the world, they can. You see, we believe that vacations are not just an option, they are a necessity. Stress continues to be the #1 killer all over the world. Everyone needs to go on a holiday. Now, in this industry, you can go on a holiday every month, whether you need it or not. Don Failla thinks his entire life is a holiday. Isn't that nice? So he's going to be giving you some ideas about all of this evening. Experience is your best teacher. There is no substitute for experience. We continue to build a business. Our theory and our philosophy is there is no way you can continue to be an expert in this field if you don't do it every day and if you don't continue to build a business. So we're going to be sharing some things this evening for you that may be a little bit new for you. Maybe give you some new ideas. And I want to remind you that one new idea can totally change your life. Then you can make a difference in not only your life, and your family and friends' lives, but people you haven't even met yet. We're here because we want to be here. We do not have to work any longer. We've been in this industry a long time and have plenty of residual income. This is our mission in life, to be able to help as many people as we can on the planet to have a better lifestyle. Thank you for coming. We are absolutely having the time of our life. Listen real close to Don. One new idea can totally change your life. And now I'd like to introduce you to the one and only, the man I've been married to for 39 years, Don Failla.
She says 39, I say 390. but it's been good, and we decided every year we have an anniversary, we decide, sit down, have a nice little talk, and say, well, do you want to go for one more? And we said, yeah, let's go for one more. Let's just take it a day at a time. Okay. Anyway, let me give you a little idea what's going to happen this evening. We started 7 years ago with a health company, and we don't talk about it, but I just let you know it is a health company, with 4 members. And today we have over 140,000 in the downline. We're adding 3,100 new members each and every month, whether we get out of bed or not. And over 95% of the 3,100 and the 140,000 come from the original 4. Now, when you look at that, does that answer the question, do you need to sponsor a lot of people to build a large organization? See, obviously you don't, okay? I mean, so what's the big deal? You go out and sign up 30 people, but you lose half of them 2 months later. So when you sponsor someone, you're going to help them, teach them to help their people, and I'll be getting into that in a little bit. Want to ask you a question, and just answer it in your mind. You don't have to raise your hands. But when you sponsor a new person, how much training time does it take you with your new person before that new person can go out and sponsor their first person? Can you do it in a couple hours? Does it take you a few days? Does it take you a few weeks? Or some of you have people still waiting 3 months later to have some kind of a miraculous experience with the products before they think they can talk to someone. What I'm going to do for you tonight, I'm going to teach you a system where you'll be able to take a brand new person and teach them enough information in less than 10 minutes so they can actually get started sponsoring. Not only will you be able to do this in less than 10 minutes, you're going to teach them how to do this without them knowing anything. Now that's a hard one to swallow, okay? And I will take you through the system step by step by step, and you will see that you really don't have to know anything to do this, to be able to get started. And if I were to say what a person has to get started in this business is a desire to want something. Because if your person that you're trying to work with doesn't want something, doesn't matter what it is, then they're not going to do anything no matter what you have. So since I could teach the system to you in about 10 minutes or so, I know a lot of you came a long way. I've got some other things I'd like to share with you that'll be very helpful and useful for you to know. Now, in our new upgraded version of the book, can I see the hands of the people who've already read the book on the napkin presentations? Great, okay. Just so you know, the seminar is not about the book, okay? People can read the book. But in the book, napkin presentation number 8 is about what we call sizzle sessions. And this is getting together with one or more people, usually in a restaurant, to share ideas about your business. Now, We actually had a sizzle session yesterday morning at Bill and Sharon's house, and this was actually the first time in all the years we've been in the business we actually recorded the entire sizzle session. And that'll become available very soon, and you can keep in touch with Paul on that. But anyway, napkin presentation number 8 on sizzle sessions. We share ideas, and people say, well, what exactly do you do? And I say, well, one of the things that we do is we teach our people what we call self-motivators. Now, a self-motivator is something that when you do it, when you teach someone, you are motivating yourself. Now, so you have to understand that 99% of these people are in Europe. We live in San Diego. So people say, well, Don, how do you motivate these people that live so far away and most of them don't speak or understand English? And I say, well, we don't motivate them. We motivate the leaders by teaching them the self-motivators, and then they teach their people and they teach their people, and everybody keeps them self-motivated. That's kind of neat, okay? Now, I'm going to teach you one of these self-motivators, and this one has to do with residual income. Now, I know most of you know what residual income is, and that's money that you're getting long after you've done the work. But I'm going to give you a different way of looking at residual income. And, you know, from experience, I know that everybody in the room will not understand this presentation. But that's okay because it is in the back of the book. If you don't understand it, I would go to someone else that's here during the break or when we're finished and say, did you understand that presentation? And have them explain it to you, okay? You've got to learn this presentation because it is so powerful. It'll open up your mind to the fact that everybody you know should be in network marketing. I mean, whether you think they can sell or not doesn't make any difference, and I'm going to get into that too a little bit later. But it'll give you a feeling that everyone needs to be in network marketing. Presentation goes like this. Let's say that you are living in the home of your choice and you had no mortgage. The house is paid for. You're driving the car of your choice and the car is paid for. Your phone bills are current, no credit card bills. You have no bills. If you were in that kind of a situation and you had $10,000 a month coming to you, you could live the lifestyle better than most millionaires. Now, folks, we do this seminar all over the world in all different currencies. So for me to adapt it to each currency, I think I'd go crazy, okay? So just so you know that this would be roughly around 13,000 Australian dollars. So I'll be talking US dollars just for convenience. It's just too hard to make the switch. Okay, now, all your friends and all the people you know who are not in network marketing, how could they ever possibly have $10,000 a month coming to them, whether they get out of bed or not? Well, you've probably heard ever since you're very young that wouldn't it be nice someday to have enough money in the bank to be able to live off the interest and not touch the principal? Well, in America, with the amount of interest you can get on an account that would actually send you a check each month, it would take $6 million. That's how much you would have to have in the bank to give you $10,000 a month interest income. And I'm here to tell you that the $10,000 interest that you would get from the money in the bank will spend the same as the $10,000 a month you can get from your networking company, okay? Let's take a look at another figure here. 5,000. Be very comfortable if you had no bills. Still takes $3 million in the bank. Now, how does a person put this money in the bank? Have to have a job, and then they have to pay taxes on the money from the job. Now, that's not a problem here in Australia, correct? Okay? You got to make your car payment, your house payment, all the different things you have to spend money on. What you have left we call discretionary income. And this money, you can take your family to a nice meal once a week. And then you're saving up money for a nice holiday once a year. When you're through with all those expenditures, that is the money you have left to put in the bank. How many people you know are going to do that? Could you do that? No way. But see, how many, can I see the hands of the people who know people in your company that make $5,000 a month? People know people make that kind of money? How long did it take them to get to that income? We have seen people get to that kind of income in 6 months, in a year. What if it took 3 years to get to $5,000 a month income? See, I believe everybody here in this room, if you'll work the business with the system the way I'll be teaching it to you tonight, could be at $5,000 and more income per month in 3 years. Now, what are we really saying? What we're saying is that in 3 years, you've put and use the word equivalent of $3 million in the bank in 3 years. Do you ever think in your entire life you could save $1 million a year for 3 years? So you don't make that much money anyway, but yet you are saving the equivalent of $1 million a year for 3 years because the interest on the $3 million, which is $5,000 a month, spends the same as the $5,000 a month you get from your networking company. Now, we've used these large figures for years, and it's always nice to talk about the big dollars, but let me show you something interesting here. And this will help you with your retention of your distributors, and obviously the longer they can stay with you, the better chance they're going to have of making it in the business. You will have people come to you that maybe have been with you 6 months. They're making $200 a month, and they say, this thing is not going fast enough. I'm going to quit. I'm going to give it up. And this is why you need to learn this presentation and show it to people, because not only will they not give it up, but every time you show it, it'll remind you, and you will never quit the business. Because, see, to have $200 a month coming to you takes $100,000 in the bank. So you say to your person, God, you must be crazy. You don't make $100,000 a year, but yet you have just saved the equivalent of $100,000 in 6 months, and you're going to quit? Why don't you keep doing what you've been doing, and maybe by the end of the year you get it up to $400,000? See, that takes $200,000 in the bank. In America, we have too many lawyers, too many attorneys, too many bankruptcies. Over 80% of the families that have a bankruptcy could have been avoided if they had an extra $200 to $400 a month coming to them. See, so it always isn't about the big numbers, because, see, there are hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people out there and families out there that can use an extra $200 to $400 a month. Now, this presentation is easy to learn because you're dividing in half. So to have 100 a month coming in takes $50,000 in the bank. To have $50 coming in takes $25,000 in the bank. $25 takes $12,500 in the bank. And $12.50 takes $6,250 in the bank. Now, why do I take it down so low? Can I see the hands of the people here this evening that can remember your first check that you got from a network marketing company? Would I be too far off to suggest that it was somewhere between $12 and $50? Okay? How can you get excited about that? See, you can if you know what it represents. Because, see, making an extra $12.50 for the month is like you just put $6,250 in the bank. Can I see the hands? People here tonight that save $6,250 a month in the bank? Do any of your friends save $6,250 a month in the bank? No way. So rather than try to put the money in the bank, wouldn't it be much easier to teach them a simple system you can do in 10 minutes so they can sponsor someone, start building a business, and let's say the first 2 to 3 months, they're growing at 12 to 25. Then all of a sudden, in 3 to 4 months, they're growing at 25 to 50. 4 to 6 months, they're at 50 to 100. And let's say in 6 months to a year, they're growing now at $200 to $400 a month. When they're growing at $200 to $400 a month, it's like they're saving between $100,000 and $200,000 a month in the bank. Where can you do that outside of network marketing? I don't know any place you can do that. So a lot of people that kind of poo-poo the industry, they don't understand, folks. This is all about understanding. People don't understand what this business is all about and what you can get from being involved in this business. Now, we have a little, what we call promo card, and I'm going to show you how you use this with the system, but on the back, it has some numbers here for you with the Australian dollars and the Australian interest rates. So it's a little handy thing to have to use. Okay, now, why do we grow so fast in the business? I'm going to give you several reasons. First of all, has a lot to do with your attitude about what it is you think you're doing. Okay? We are in a health company. Most of you are in a health company. But you know what? We don't think we're selling health products. If you think you're selling health products, you are in trouble. You're not going to grow very fast. And I'll tell you why. There's only 15% of the population in virtually any country we've ever been in that are sick, hurt, or into health. So if you think you're selling health products, that's your market. We don't think we're selling health products. What we think we're doing, folks, is looking for people who would like to have a better life. Do you know that 95% of your population, the people would like to have a better life? Doesn't matter what level they are in your society. Everybody would like to move up another notch. Even the person who has the $500,000 yacht would like to move up to $1 million yacht, and then a $2 million or a $5 million. But people would like to have a better life. Now we're talking 95% of the people you can talk to about your business, the 5% on the top already have the time and the money. And they own their life. That's why we were the pin. Own your life. It's a balance, folks, between time and money. See, a lot of people work and they have good jobs, and they make a lot of money, but they don't have time to go watch your kids play football or soccer or gymnastics or whatever. They don't own their life. Retired people, they have a lot of time, but if they don't have enough money to go see their grandchildren anytime they choose, they don't own their life either. See, so all we're talking about is a balance between time and money. So the 5% on the top, they already have the time and the money, and they already own their life. We say, hey, they make great customers. So now with this particular attitude about what it is you're doing, instead of 15% of your population, now you have 100% of your population you can talk to. I'm going to give you a couple examples. We were driving from Copenhagen in Denmark up the coast to Helsingborg to take the ferry over to Helsingborg, Sweden, which is about a 15 to 20 minute run to go over there. And as we're driving up the coast, I'm looking out there and I'm seeing literally tens of thousands of sailboats in the marinas. We get to the ferry and we're going across. Nancy and I go up to the railing, and we're looking out over the water. Now, this was on a Friday, and guess what we do not see? We did not see one sailboat out on the water. Why did we not see any sailboats? Because they were all in the marinas. Why were they in the marinas? Because all the people that owned the boats were all on the jobs. Do you think it matters whether those people care about health products? What they care about is having their boat out on the water during the week. Those are your prospects, folks. Once you follow through the system and the person needs a vehicle and you happen to have health products, they're going to love your products. You're going to end up with what we call converts to health. These are people who've never taken health products before, so now you get 100% of their health dollar. You're not sharing it with the health food store or some other competitors. You're getting the whole thing. And besides, a lot of you have companies that have what we call transfer buying products. These are products like toothpaste or shampoo or shower gel or whatever that people are using every day anyway, and they're already buying them in the grocery store. So basically, folks, we want to get your head on the idea of looking for people that want a better life. They want something. Now, when our children were growing up, we lived in the Northwest, and if any of you know anything about America, in the Northwest, it rains a lot in the wintertime, fall and winter. They wanted to be professional tennis players. Well, the thing that motivated us was to move to sunny Southern California, where they had acres and acres of tennis courts, and they could play all they wanted. And they both became professional tennis players. Our son Greg used to practice with Pete Sampras 2-3 times a week for several years. They grew up in that era with Michael Chang, his brother Carl, and Agassi and Courier. And folks, let me tell you one thing that all those kids had in common. And that is, out on the tennis circuit, their parents were there with them, supporting them. Most of the kids were sent with the coach. They didn't have their parental support. And see, it doesn't matter whether it's tennis, cricket, gymnastics. In Japan, we say sumo wrestling. It doesn't matter. If the parents can be there to support their children, it makes all the difference in the world. So can I see the hands of people here who have little children at home, like 5 to 10 years old? See, wouldn't it be nice if they get into competition, that when they start going out of town, that you can go with them, you can be with them? See, that's what we're talking about. These are your prospects. When we're in Europe, we talk to people about skiing. You know, how many people like to ski? Wouldn't it be better to go skiing Monday through Friday than on the weekends when you have the long lines? See, these are your prospects, folks. And, you know, if you get that in your head and you quit, see, everybody kind of has an idea of kind of what they're looking for. And most people are looking for people they think can sell something. And you're going to see here very shortly where you're looking for the wrong people. Okay, now, I need to talk to you about my favorite subject, and that's salespeople in network marketing. Now, there are only 5% of any population are the good salespeople. 95% are the non-salespeople. Now, a non-sales type, what they think selling is talking to a stranger, trying to talk them into something that they don't need or want, like a new set of encyclopedias, cookware, dishes, insurance, whatever, okay? That's what they think selling is, okay? Now, it is interesting to note, and it's only because people don't understand. You haven't heard this stuff before, okay? Most people in network marketing spend most of the time looking for their prospects in the 5% pool of people, the salespeople. Isn't that ironical to think that people would spend most of their time looking for people who historically have had the least chance of making it in the business. Salespeople have the least chance of making it. Now, if we have some salespeople here this evening, don't let this be discouraging to you, because see, there are some salespeople who've made it huge in this business, okay? But see, you have to understand, you've got network marketing companies and you've got selling companies, okay? They mix like oil and water. The only way a salesperson can make it big in network marketing, guess what, folks? They have to learn network marketing, because it's not the same as sales. They're different. Okay, now I'm going to explain this to you so you can understand. And what I'm going to tell you right now, if you will tell everyone you sponsor what I'm going to tell you now, and so then if they sponsor a salesperson, they can tell the salesperson. See, what happens a lot of times, you get a new person in your downline, and they go sponsor a hotshot salesperson that signs up 10 people in the first 2 weeks in the business. Your new person is totally wired. Man, they're totally excited. They think they're going to get rich. And 60 days later, that person's off selling something else. And your person says, man, if they couldn't make it, how am I going to make it? They quit too. Okay? Well, you're going to understand this now, what you need to say. See, salespersons spend their whole life being recruited, note the word recruit, by sales managers to sell for the sales manager. You recruit a salesperson into your company, you know what they're thinking? They're thinking, I'm going to go recruit a bunch of people to sell for me. Folks, with that kind of thinking, they will never make it in this business. Because we do not recruit people to sell for us. We sponsor people, so we go to work for them. See, I don't recruit Bill to sell for me. I sponsor Bill so I can go to work for Bill. See the difference? And then he sponsors a friend. He goes to work for the friend. I also go to work for the friend. The friend sponsors a friend. Everybody progressively is going to work for the new person. So the deeper you go, the stronger it gets, because everybody progressively has one more person working for them. Folks, if you work the business this way, there's no failure. You can't fail, because you have a whole team of people who are working for you. Now, the biggest asset a salesperson has over the non-sales type is the ability to call on and meet strangers. See, it's that asset that becomes the cause of their failure in the business. Because it is so easy for them to meet people, they're just running around signing people up. They don't spend enough quality time with any one person to get the duplication going. See, this is a business about duplication. But you're only duplicated when you, the thumb, sponsor a friend, the finger, are 3 levels deep. If you don't go 3 levels deep with the person you sponsor, you haven't duplicated yourself, because the person you sponsor has to teach this person how to teach this person. You know that's complete. When you're 3 levels deep from there, you're actually 4 levels deep. You are duplicated. I have seen so many salespeople come into this industry, and in 6 months' time, they've already recruited 100 to 200 people, and they haven't duplicated themselves one time. They're maybe 1 or 2 levels deep in a couple places, but they have not duplicated themselves one time. And it's only because they don't understand. No one ever sat down and explained it to them. Now, on the other hand, the non-sales types, it is uncomfortable for a non-sales type to call on and meet a stranger. So what happens with them is they'll sponsor a few friends, and then help them with their friends, and then help them with their friends, then help them with their friends. Folks, it starts off slower. I mean, if you're looking at this as a race, the salesman's going to be way out in front in the first couple months, But in 6 months' time, the person who's sponsoring and teaching is going to go by them like they're standing still because they're playing the game we call multiplication, where the salesperson is playing the game we call adding and subtracting. Good place to refer to one of the napkin presentations in the book. Napkin presentation number 4 has to do with what your business should look like. And this is a great town for that because you have some real nice big buildings here. But your business should look like a big building. The bigger the building, the more freedom, income, and independence you have. But I want you to think about how that building got started. They had to dig the foundation first. And you could drive around that foundation, you don't see the building because they're in the ground, just like in network marketing. You don't really see the income when you're building the foundation. The people who see the income right away, salespeople, because they're out selling stuff. And let me tell you, as soon as you sell a product to a non-sales type, there is nothing you could ever say the rest of your life that would ever convince them that this is not a selling business once you've already sold to them. So granted, they're out selling, they're making money today, but they're not doing anything to contribute to the foundation of the building. You want customers, you want to build your business fast. Once you do the system, you share the opportunity. If they don't want to build a business, then go for the customer. Don't do it the other way. Don't go get customers first and think they're going to be business builders, folks, because you're going to wait for them to have an experience, and 3 months later they run into a person that has a similar problem that's a friend, and they get them to try the products, and they wait until they have an experience, and you can build a huge business that way. It's going to take you about 30 years to do it. So you get your customers from building your business. The ones that don't come in the business, go for the customer. Don't do it the other way, or it's going to be painfully slow for you. I want to say one sentence, and this one sentence, when you understand this, can drive your whole business. I already said it's uncomfortable for a non-sales type to call on and meet strangers. But here's the sentence. Anyone can meet a stranger if someone will introduce the stranger to them. Let me repeat that. Now I'll get back to that at the end of the presentation. You'll see how powerful that is. And that is that anyone can meet a stranger if someone will introduce the stranger to them. Now, once you understand that, you can break the business down into 2 simple sentences, what you need to do to be successful. First one is you make a friend. And of course, that's if you don't have any. So if you already have them, you've already got the first step there taken care of. And the second one is then meet their friends. And you can say this before you go to bed at night. Do this 20 times for the next week before you go to sleep at night. Instead of counting sheep, well, you got plenty of them to count down here. Just say, I'm going to make a friend, I'm going to meet their friends. I'm going to make a friend, meet their friends. I'm going to make a friend, meet their friends. Just get that ingrained in your head, folks, because that's what you want to do. Quit running around looking for people to sponsor. Work with the ones you already have so you can meet their friends, and I'm going to show you how we do that towards the end here. Can I see the hands, people here this evening, who have ever had someone tell you they don't have time to do this business? I think you would all believe it if I told you that time is the number one excuse people have for not doing this business. What you're going to learn right now might be one of the most important things you'll learn here tonight, and that is a realization that how you approach your friends and how you present your opportunity is how they think the business works. So I think if I mention going into someone's home, an in-home presentation, you're there for 2-3 hours, telling them all about your company, your vehicle, which is company product marketing plan, and they say to you, this looks great, but I don't have time. The thing that blows me away is I've had people come up to me, been in the industry for over 10 years, And they said, you know, Don, I would have never figured it out if I didn't hear it from you from the front of the room that the reason the people were saying they don't have time because I was taking 3 hours of their time and they thought they had to do the same thing. And they would have never figured it out. So you guys will never have this problem because, see, now you've already heard it. So the next time you do that and someone says they don't have time, you can say, gee, Don was right. I just spent 3 hours of these people's time. They think they're going to have to spend 3 hours and they don't have time to do that. I'll guarantee you spend 1 hour and they say they don't have time, you're going to say, I've got to get this thing shortened up. And of course, that's what I'm going to do for you tonight. Get it so short, we never get the time objection. Our people never get it. And you work the system, you will never get this objection either. Now, let me go over another situation, and that is the weekly opportunity meeting. You pick someone up at 6:30, you get them to the meeting at 7. After the meeting, you go have a cup of coffee or whatever, get them home at 10 o'clock. They say, you know, I really enjoyed the evening, but I don't think I want to do this. Let me tell you one little simple thing you can do that could make all the difference in the world. Before you get to the meeting, tell your person at least 3 times or more that going to this meeting is only one of several ways of doing this business. Because see, if you don't tell them that, why would they know there's any other way? They're going to naturally think going to this meeting is how you build your business. And they just moved here from Sydney and they say, well, gee, I know 300 people in Sydney, I could get to a meeting, but you know, how can I get them to the meeting? See, so you've got to let them know that that's only one of several ways. Now, we do not have opportunity meetings. We do not believe in opportunity meetings. We would much rather have you do a weekly training meeting. And you can get together with your leaders and come up with a format of maybe training A, B, C, and D. So each week they're a little bit different. But let me describe to you the difference between the opportunity meeting and the training meeting. Now, if you had an opportunity meeting and you had this many people in the room, you would be probably lucky if out of like 90 people, you'd have 15 that are guests. Well, you have someone up in front of the room, usually in a suit, and the guests are like this, all locked up, because see, they know the person in front of the room is going to try to sell them something, okay? The members, they're all leaning back, counting all the spots and the squares on the ceiling, because they are so bored, they've already heard this thing 25 times. They're bored to tears. So we don't do these meetings. We do training meetings. And it's okay to bring a guest to a training meeting. What you say to your guests simply is, we're having they're always special, a special training on Tuesday evening, and I'd like you to come as my guest and sit and listen in to the training. So they come to your training meeting, and they're all just sitting there relaxed because nobody's talking to them. You're talking to your people. You're training your people. And you always have in your training meeting at least 10 minutes devoted to if there are guests. Because I have seen many opportunity meetings where people, and it's just amazing how people get up, put on the whole opportunity meeting, and there's no guests. I'm sure you all seen that too. Well, be aware when you have guests present at your training meetings and you have this little 10 minutes that you're going to learn tonight where you can do a little training on how we do the business. And folks, you'll bet 100% because you haven't done anything that anyone couldn't see themselves doing. I mean, if they came to the meeting, it's because they're looking for something, they're interested in something, and you're going to show them something that absolutely anyone can do. Okay, now, I want to get into the system and how this all works. There's 3 steps in the system. And there's several ways you can segue into the first step. We wear the Own Your Life pin, okay? And people will ask us about the PIN. What's your PIN? Well, it gets us a chance to have a conversation with them about having a better life, and then you'll see with the system how we have them look at a card and take it from there. Now, if you are wearing a PIN from your company, man, you got a major, major hurdle to overcome. Now, with our company, we have a 3-star diamond pin, which we're very proud of, but we never wear it in public. We wear it at company events. And the reason we don't wear it in public is because if someone asks me about the pin and I tell them, and they say, what's that? As soon as you mention one product, I will guarantee you that that person will say to you something to the effect that, oh, you're trying to sell me this stuff. And you're dead. I mean, try to sponsor a non-sales type when he thinks you're trying to sell him something. It's just really hard, almost impossible to do. So we wear the Own Your Life pin because it gets us started on the right foot first. Let me give you an analogy here. Everybody thinks their vehicle is the hot vehicle. And again, the vehicle is company, product, and marketing plan. And most people in this industry, because they haven't heard what you're hearing tonight, they want to go show their friends their vehicle first, okay? Well, let's say that you owned a Ferrari. Ferrari's a hot vehicle. Would you let your best friend go for a drive around the block in your brand new Ferrari if they didn't know how to drive? Okay? You start seeing what's happening to how you're building your business, folks. You go over in their home for 3 hours and you get them excited about your vehicle and they'll sign up with you, okay? But guess what'll happen? They will go right out and start talking to their best friends, their best prospects, and they don't have a clue on how to drive. And how to drive is once you understand this business. Now, I already showed you it only took 4 people to build this huge organization. Why would you want to take a chance that your new person is going to go out and start talking to people before they even know what they're in? They don't know that this isn't sales. They don't know it's not a pyramid. They can't handle objections or questions. So what happens is they get shot down 2 or 3 times from their friends and they crash and burn. See, so it's real simple. We don't do it that way. Before we show the vehicle, we found out if they would like to learn how to drive, if they want something, and then we teach them how to drive. And once they know how to drive, they will get on any vehicle you show them, and they're not going to go out and ruin their best prospects, okay? So that gives you a little background, overview of the system and what we're trying to accomplish here. So I already mentioned the PIN as one way to segue into it. There's another one, and you might want to take a note on this one because this one is not in the book or in anything we have. You're talking to a friend, and you ask them a question, do you know anybody who likes to travel or go on a holiday? And they'll usually laugh and say, well, yeah, everybody does. Well, sure I do, okay? Then you follow up with simply, you know, it takes 3 things to travel and go on a holiday. It takes time, it takes money, and you have to have good health. I mean, traveling, if you're not healthy, is no fun. If I could show you how you could have all 3, would you be interested? What are they going to say to that? I mean, how long would it take you to teach someone to ask a friend if they know anybody who likes to travel or go on holiday and say those 3 things and say, if you're interested, I'll get you some information, okay? The next way to segue into this is you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, coffee with a friend, sitting next to someone on an airplane for several hours. Now, I want you to understand, folks, this system only works with friends. It's not going to work if you go down at the mall and just do it with strangers walking by. It's not designed that way. If you want to meet strangers at the mall, fine, make a friend first, make a connection with the person first, then you do the system. And also, I'd like to say that A lot of you have contacts, friends, relatives, family, all over the world, because your company's all over the world, that you have not contacted yet because you didn't know how you could do it. How can you possibly sponsor someone in Perth when you can't get them to the opportunity meeting here, when you can't go spend 2-3 hours in their home? How are you going to do that so far away because you figure it's going to cost you a fortune talking to them on the phone, so you just let it ride? Once you understand the system, you will be able to sponsor people anywhere in the world your company's doing business. So this should blow the lid off of people that you think you can talk to. So you don't start the process until the waiter brings the check, until the plane is pulling up to the gate, okay? Let me use the example. I'm talking to Bill on the phone. And Bill and I have been friends for years. We've been having this nice conversation. Just about ready to hang up the phone, and I say to Bill, it's kind of like an afterthought. I say, Bill, by the way, have you ever thought about what it would be like if you could own your life? Isn't silence powerful? People get a little nervous. They, oh, he forgot what he's going to say, That's what you're going to get most of the time when you ask that question. So then you would continue on, and I would simply say, well, Bill, what I think it means to own your life is by the time you subtract out the sleeping time, commuting time, working time, things that you have to do each and every day of your lives, most people don't have but a few hours a day of their lives to do what they would like to do, and then would they have the money to do it? We have discovered a way a person can learn how to own their life by building a home-based business, and we have a system for doing it that is so simple. Anybody can do it, doesn't require any selling, and the best part, it won't take much of your time. Bill, if you're interested, I can get you some information. Folks, what I just said there, normal speech pattern, takes 45 seconds. That's why we call it the 45 seconds. Some of you are sitting there thinking, because you remembered I said I was going to teach you how to do this without knowing anything. You think, oh, I've got to know the 45-second presentation. Well, if you had to know it, it's certainly a lot easier to learn a 2-3 hour presentation you're going to do in someone's home. But you don't have to know it, because you can have it printed on the back of your business card. Okay? We have it on the promo card, and you can just get your name and information printed here, and you can have this right by the phone. So I'm on the phone with Bill, and I look down, and it's in the front of the book, right in the front page, and you're welcome to take it out of the book, type it up in a script format, and have it by your phone. So I'm just looking down there and say, oh, by the way, Bill, have you ever thought about what it would be like to own your life? I'm reading it. How many of you know anybody that couldn't do that? Now, you're in trouble if they don't know how to read, okay? But that's very unlikely you'll find too many of those nowadays. So anyway, it's right there. And it ends up with, if you're interested, I'll get you some information. Two possibilities here. Bill could say, Don, I'm just not interested. I want to keep my stupid, dead-end, boring job for the next 30 years and take what they give me. Okay? Isn't that exciting to know that in 45 seconds, not 2-3 hours? See, folks, a lot of this has to do with burnout. Okay? Because you do too many of these 2-3 hour presentations, all of a sudden you get burned out on doing them, and you start prejudging people. You say, oh, I can just tell by looking at this person over here, they probably wouldn't do anything. I'm not even going to bring it up to them, because if I bring it up to them, I'm going to have to go to their home for 2-3 hours, or I'm going to have to pick them up, bring them to an opportunity meeting, or heck, I'll just invite them and hope they show up. Okay? So you start prejudging people, and that is hazardous to the growth of your business, because you can't tell, and I can't tell by just looking at someone what they can do in your business. You don't know. So when you know you only have a very limited amount of time invested in this person, then you're more apt to talk to more people, more of your friends about your business. The other thing is, Bill says, let's say we're having breakfast or coffee, and he says he's interested. I just reach in my bag, pull out a book, and I say, Bill, what I'd like to do is have you read the first 4 napkin presentations in the book, and when would be a good time to get back to you, and then we can talk about our vehicle. Don't even get into the vehicle until they've read the book, okay? Now, I want you to know that I don't tell them up front to read the book. If I do, it goes on the shelf, and they get to it in due time. We only tell them to read the first 4 napkin presentations, but we fully intend that they're going to read the whole book because most people will finish it right then. But if you tell them to read the first 4 napkin presentations, they look in here, and they see the diagrams, they say, oh, I could do that in 10, 15 minutes. And they do that, they finish the book. Now you have someone who understands. See, I told you the number one excuse people have for not doing this business is time. The number one reason people don't do this business is because they don't understand it, okay? When they read the book, they will understand. And now we coin the phrase and say they know how to drive. Let me give you the history on the book. The book came out in May of 1981, sold over 4 million copies. It's in about 23 languages now. But 10 years before we had the book, we used to use a product and a vehicle approach to the business. But we did one thing that was different from everybody else, and we became very successful doing this, and that is when we sponsored a new person, we would not let them talk to anybody until we could sit down with them and teach them what became known as the napkin presentations. Napkin presentations, for those of you who have not read the book, basically I'd be in a restaurant, grab a napkin, sketch things out on the napkin for them. Because once a person knew and understood the napkin presentations, then we said they knew how to drive. Well, this would take 3 hours plus to do this. And after doing it for 10 years, I said, you know, I can't do this anymore. I really was burned out on doing this. And especially back in those days, you know, if someone had someone on the East Coast and we lived on the West Coast, they had huge, huge phone bills. So anyway, I got burned out on doing it. So one Christmas holiday, we were in Phoenix and Tucson, Arizona for our boys' tennis. And while there, I made an outline of the napkin presentations. And when we got back to the Northwest with about 14 people, and we made the first audio taping of these presentations and later redone in a studio, condensed to 1 hour. My thinking at the time was next time that I sponsor someone, instead of getting together with them, I'd loan them the tape. The tape could do the talking for me. Now, probably the smartest or luckiest thing I've done in my entire life, of course, other than marry Nancy, was I didn't mention the name of the company I was with at the time I made the tape. The tape got out into a lot of companies, and in a matter of 3-4 months, sold tens of thousands of copies. From the tape, the book was written, and ever since I've had the book, I have never sat down with anyone to teach them any of the napkin presentations in the book. I don't believe in doing that. See, I believe that everything in there is important for a new person to know before they go talk to anyone about the business, but I don't believe in teaching them, because to teach them, you have to first learn them, then it's going to take you several hours. Much better to loan them the book and let the book do the talking for you. Now, let me do a little review here. I'm with Bill in the restaurant, and I ask him the question, the question about travel. And so all I have to do is do this and have him read the card. Say, here, read this, I get your opinion. So doing this is having someone read the 45-second presentation, which incidentally, when they read it, it only takes 30 seconds to read. It takes 45 seconds to say, 30 seconds to read. So I do this, and he says he's interested. I reach in my bag, I pull out a book, and I do that. Loan them the book, have them read the first 4 chapters. Okay, now, I told you I'll teach you how to do this without knowing anything. And I'll show you how you introduce your vehicle in just a few minutes without knowing anything. But what did you have to know to do this? Then do that. Because see, if you know anybody who can do this, they can do that. Okay? They have done the first 2 of the 3 steps towards building a business. See, and the whole key here is to get them started. Now, you can have a new person practice their business at night in front of the mirror before they go to bed. And of course, it's their choice whether they do it before or after they get undressed. Okay, so they could stand there and do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. Okay? Now, before I move on, I need to go over one more thing, and that's the difference between working hard and working smart. Okay, let's say that I've already done this and that with Ann here, and I'm going to show you how we introduce the vehicle in a minute, but now she's already in the program, and she goes to her friend, and she's done this and that, okay? And then she goes to her next friend, and she does this, but she can't do that. And she goes to the next friend, she does this, but she can't do that. And right on down the line. Why can't she do that? Because the only book she has is the one I left her after she got started. Because if someone gets started in the business, I let them keep the book. And the first person she did this and that to has the book. And this person went on a 2-week holiday and forgot to take the book with her. She finally comes back from the holiday, reads the book, decides to get into the business, so she lets her keep the book. So now she's already wasted 2 weeks on these people. So working hard is having one book. Working smart would be to have enough on hand so when you do this, you can do that. And remember, since this is a warm market approach, you are loaning the person the book, and it's a friend, and if they don't come in the business, you get it back, okay? You get it back. That's why this doesn't work in a mall. I mean, you could stand there with give away 200 books a day. You know, I'd love it. If everybody here gave away 200 books a day, that'd be fantastic, but it's not going to work, okay? And I always like to kind of let people know that when your prospect reads the book, is no guarantee they're going to get into your business, okay? Where the guarantee is you haven't had to spend 3 hours explaining network marketing to them so they can understand it, so you never get burned out. That's why Nancy and I, after 37 years, we are more excited about this business today than we've ever been before, because we can meet someone and talk to them for just less than a minute or two and get the right tools going in the right direction so we don't get burned out. Say, now, how would you present the vehicle to your new person? Okay? What's your first name? Carolyn. Okay, let's say that Ann has already done this and that with Carolyn. She's finished with the book. She knows how to drive. She's all excited. So Ann gets Carolyn on the phone, and as her sponsor, she gets me on the phone, and she says to Carolyn, I've got my sponsor, Don, on the phone. He's going to explain to you about our vehicle on my behalf, and when he explains it to you, I get to listen in, and this is how I learn. Folks, that is a really important phrase, and this is how I learn. Why wouldn't Carolyn want to help Ann, her friend, learn something? Now, how often can Ann do this with people? Whatever it takes. I mean, if I have to do it for 10 times till she gets to the point where she says, hey, I could do this myself. And the reason she's going to be able to do this pretty rapidly, because the whole presentation on the vehicle is no more than 15 minutes, never more than 20 minutes. And I'll get into that in a little bit more detail in just a second. Okay, so that's one way. The other way would be have the person go to your website. You have a website with your company, a CD, a DVD, whatever. Companies nowadays have tools that kind of explain about their company, products, and marketing plan. Then you give the person the right tool and say, hey, take a look at this, and when you get finished, give me a call and I'll take care of your questions. Now, did anybody notice I didn't say I'd answer the question? I said I'd take care of them. Because see, Ann's just getting started and she doesn't know anything. So when Carolyn calls her with a question, she says, hold on just a minute, let me get my sponsor on the phone, and he can answer those questions for you. And when he does, I get to listen in, and this is how I learn. Now, what did you have to know to do this, do that, get my sponsor on the phone? Okay? Another one is, let's say we all live here in Brisbane together, and Ann has already done this and that. She's read the book. She calls up Carolyn and invites her to have a lunch. She calls me up, invites me to come have lunch with them, knowing that after the meal, I'm going to explain about the business on her behalf. Now, we never talk about the vehicle during the meal. We talk about Carolyn. We say, Carolyn, gosh, what would you do with your life if time and money wasn't a problem? We get her talking. What does she want? Okay, and the more you get that person talking, the better prospect you have. After the meal, then I would make a presentation on the behalf of Ann. Wouldn't go more than 15, 20 minutes. Now, a lot of you are looking at me like I just flew in from outer space because you've been to the opportunity meetings and you see someone get up on the board and take 30, 40 minutes or more explaining the marketing plan. We have a list we call waste of time things to do in building your business. And the second highest thing on the list of waste of time things to do in building your business is explaining a marketing plan in detail to a new person. Folks, when you get finished, they don't understand it anyway. See, we talk to people about going back to school a few hours a week for 6 months so they can learn everything they'd ever need to know to be financially independent in 1 to 3 years. They can learn this as they go. They don't have to know everything to get started. Just give them enough up front. A little bit on the company, a little bit on the products, a little bit on the marketing plan. You could do it with a flip chart in a restaurant, but just keep it real simple. Okay, now, again, quick review. What did you have to know to do this, do that, get your sponsor on the phone? Do this, do that, go have lunch. Do this, do that, have them look at a CD. Anybody can do this, folks. Now, I have a really important question I need to ask you here, is that the meal is over, they're bringing the check, who pays for the meal? Ann pays for the meal. She invited Carolyn, the prospect. She invited Don, the sponsor, who's doing all the work. So she pays for the meal. Now here is the $64,000 question. How many times would Ann have to buy my meal where she says, he's not doing anything I can't do myself. Why am I buying his meal all the time? I'll go with Carolyn with her friend and she can buy my meal. Okay? It's called duplication, folks. I had a person in Germany about a year ago said, Don, came up to me after the seminar, he says, Don, did you realize if you did this business right, you'd never have to pay for a meal? And I says, well, thanks for sharing. That's a good thought, But that's very true. So very simple, folks. Do this, do that. Call your sponsor and do this, do that. Go have a meal, do this, do that. Look at a tool from your company. That's how simple this business is. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention the other night, that one of the keys to working with the system is we teach people not to talk. Talking is your worst enemy. Because see, the more you talk, the bigger problem you have. Because the more you talk, the more they think they don't have time to do what you're doing. And the more you talk, the more they think they can't do what you're doing. Now, trying to teach salespersons not to talk is not easy, especially if they're women. No. I tell you, I get scolded after every seminar when they say that. Nancy really gives me a bad time with that one. But anyway, it is hard to get people not to talk. It's just got to control yourself. But if you have this realization that as you're talking, You ever see people just kind of glaze over because you're just giving them too much information? Be careful. Now, the number one waste of time thing that people do in trying to build a business in network marketing is out looking for people to sponsor. Number one waste of time thing to do. If you do the business right, you never have to do that. Let me explain it this way. Person comes into the business and you sponsor that one person. I sponsor Ann, okay, a friend. Now, I naturally know she will know 200 people I don't know. So all I have to do is teach Ann how to do this and that, so when it's appropriate, she can introduce her friends to me. Remember I said earlier, anybody can meet a stranger, someone will introduce them to you. So do this and that, introduce her friends to me, okay? Anybody can do that, real simple. And then she sponsors a person, and now I'm supporting and helping her with that person, helping her to go 3-4 levels deep. And all of a sudden, someone else comes along, I know. Now I have 2 people that I'm working for, and that person knows 200 people I don't know. And I keep doing this until I have 5 people on my first level. And if you are really working for these people and doing the business the way I'm teaching it, you are going to be very, very busy. And I say, I'll talk to her people when it's appropriate. It is only appropriate for her to introduce them to me after they've read the book. Because if she gets someone on the phone to me, the first thing I'm going to ask the person, have you finished the book? And the person says, well, gee, no, I'm going to meet Ann tomorrow and she's going to get me the book tomorrow. I say, well, I got a great idea. After you get the book, let's give it a couple days, then we'll do this again after you've read the book. See, I don't want to talk to someone until they read the book. Too many dumb questions that I can't handle because, after you've been handling dumb questions for so many years, you get a little bit impatient. They come up with this pyramid garbage. I tell them, look, you want to see a pyramid? Go to Egypt. Okay, that's where the pyramids are. But anyway, got to make sure that they've read the book before that's when it's appropriate. Now, when you have 5 people that you're working for, when one of them doesn't need you anymore, it could be the first one you brought in, it could be the last one you brought in, and you can pretty much tell when they don't need you anymore because now they can go off and do the things you're doing, then you add another one. Then when one doesn't need you anymore, you add another one. You get a flow going until you get the number that you need and maybe 1 or 2 beyond to get into maximum qualification in your marketing plan. So what this looks like is you sponsor 5 people, and you don't do this in your first 2-3 days, folks. That's what salespeople do. They go out and just sign up everybody real quick, and then they don't spend any time with anybody, and then they don't duplicate. So this might take anywhere from 1 week to 2 months to get 5 good people, okay? You should be there by the end of your first full month in the business. Definition of that is any part of the month that's left, give them that plus the next month. And everybody you bring in will know 200 people you don't know. Now, let me tell you a huge mistake that most people make. And again, it's because they don't understand. They will tell their new person, sit down and make a list of 100, 200 names. Anybody ever heard that before? Huge mistake. I mean, huge mistake. You know what? Here's why. 10 years earlier, this person that you just sponsored and spent all this time and energy letting them know that they didn't have to be a salesperson to be in this business, 10 years ago, they tried to sell encyclopedias, vacuum cleaners, cookware, whatever. You know what the first thing their sales manager told them to do? Make a list of names. So you've been all this time telling them you don't have to sell. Now you do the first thing out of your mouth on your first training with your new person, you tell them something that a sales manager would tell a salesman. They get really confused. So what we recommend is you tell your people to make up a short list. A short list. Why do you need a list of 200 names to sponsor one person? Because that's what this business is about. It's about getting one. You get one, and then you help them get one, and teach them how to get one, and then you get one more. Okay? You don't need a list of 200 names to sponsor one person. We say, Gee, don't you know who your friends are? Make a list of 3 to 5 names of your friends that you would like to go to work for. See, remember, you get to choose the people you go to work for. That's what's really exciting about this business, okay? Now, I want you to notice here that you should be at this 5 by the end of your first full month in the business. Picture yourself saying something like this to your new person. With all the people you know and can meet and my help, do you think you could find 5 people by the end of September? Okay, give them the rest of the month, next month, okay? Okay, 5 times 200 is 1,000 people that you can meet through the 5 you already have. So if you're teaching these 5 people how to do this and that so they can introduce these people to you when it's appropriate, when would you have time to be out looking for strangers to talk to you about your business? You're going to help your 5 people with the people they know so they can have 5 serious people. That gets you to 25 on the second level. You should be there by the end of 3 full months in the business. 25 times 200 is 5,000. Adds up to 6,000 people to meet through the people you already have. When would you have time to be looking for strangers? You're going to teach your people to teach them to help their people. Goes to 125. Should be there in 6 months. We say, gosh, what if that took a whole year to do that? 125 times 200 is 25,000. That gives you 31,000 people to meet through the people you already have. When would you have time to be looking for strangers? There's a fun motivational story that goes along with this. It goes like this. Many years ago, a person in Africa sold his farm because he wanted to go looking for diamonds. Spent the rest of his life looking all over Africa for diamonds, and finally ended it all by drowning himself in the ocean. The person who bought his farm found the Kimberley mine on that farm. The largest diamond mine in all of Africa was found on the farm the person sold so they could go looking. Same story, different continent. A guy named Sutter from Switzerland. He bought a farm outside of Sacramento, California, which is outside of San Francisco, during the days of the gold rush from a person who wanted to go looking for gold. Sutter found the largest gold mining operation during those days of the gold rush on the farm the person sold so they could go looking. See, do you recognize that up here? This, the 5, the 25, the 125, these are your acre of diamonds. Say, teach these people here how to talk to the people they already know so when it's appropriate they can introduce them to you, and you'll have more people to talk to than you'll ever know what to do with. And in the process of working with your people, meeting them in this place and that restaurant and this restaurant, you will naturally run into and meet and get to know more people than you'll ever know what to do with. Folks, I really enjoyed being here. Thank you.